Welcome to Sun Coaches Podcast, Season 8, and tonight I'm excited to be joined by the assistant head coach and defensive coordinator at Jupiter Christian High School down in Florida, Coach Adam Dickens. Thanks for being on with me.
Hey, thanks for having me, Chris. This is exciting.
So I met Coach the other weekend when we were in Orlando at the Glacier, and he was actually one of the exhibitors, working with one of the exhibitors, Snack, and we're going to let him talk about that a little bit. But before we get started, we're going to do like we do any other coach we talk to, and that's talk about where you grew up.
Yeah, so I grew up 18 years in St. Augustine, Florida, oldest city in the nation. Also, one of the coolest things about St. Augustine is this it's this little town that just loves football. A little fishing town and has one of the best programs in the whole state of Florida. St. Augustine High School. I got to play under head coach Joey Wiles. My offense coordinator was Steve Harden, just some legendary guys. My defense coordinator was Brian Braddock, who's currently the head coach there. Just a really long and storied tradition of football success and just opened my eyes to how much I loved football. And it was probably the biggest influence in my life at that time was that program. So yeah, I just absolutely loved being a part of it and kind of was springboard into the rest of my career.
So, did you play anything else, or are you just a football guy?
Yeah, St. Augustine was one of those schools that kind of you majored in football. So I was on the weightlifting team because you had to be on the weightlifting team if you played football there. And I did wrestle. I loved wrestling. I wasn't particularly good at it, but I was always one of the smaller guys on the football field. So getting to beat up on some guys on the wrestling mat in my own weight class was pretty fun. But yeah, so I wrestled a little bit, but mostly just football year round at St. Augustine.
So, what year did you graduate?
2013,
Oh, okay. So you're a young coach.
30 years old.
Awesome. I like having young guys on here. Usually, everybody accuses me of only having old farts on here all the time. So it's good to get some fresh ideas and young blood on here. So when you went off to college, did you know that you wanted to teach and coach? Did you go to play ball, or did you just go to school?
Yeah, so honestly, I wasn't very good at football in high school. My high school career, we were super successful as a team. We went 39-1 in my 4 years and never lost a game in the state of Florida. Actually, only lost in Georgia to North Gwinnett. But yeah, it was just I didn't feel like fulfilled in my football career. I felt like there was a lot of meat left on the bone as far as what I could do in football. So yeah, I graduated high school, 6 foot, like 155 pounds. I was tall and skinny, and no college in the world was going to take a look at me. So I actually ended up going to Palm Beach Atlantic University, which is just a little Christian school in West Palm Beach. And about 2 years into college, I knew that I wanted to coach, and I didn't really know how I was going to make money coaching. So I just started asking around, hey, how do you make money as a football coach? And they said, well, you got to teach. And my favorite subject in school was always history. So I became a history major with a minor in education. And I just started, as a junior in college, I started emailing every football program in Palm Beach County, which there's a ton of them here. And I actually got an email back from the legendary Jack Daniels at Dwyer High School. And that's kind of how I got started on my journey.
So did you start coaching while you were still in college, or did you wait until you got out?
No, my junior year, I walked out onto the practice field at Dwyer High School during spring, was there every single day of spring. And by the end of spring practice, Coach Daniels asked if I wanted to be the head freshman coach. And I thought he was kidding. And he said he could only pay me $500. And I thought that was like the coolest thing in the world to get paid $500 to coach football. So yeah, I was like, sign me up. And so my senior year of college, I was the freshman head coach at Dwyer High School.
Well, that's awesome. So you got a head start at it. I understood you saying that you emailed everybody. I just thought you were getting a jump start into trying to get your name out there. But that's so awesome that is while you're in college, you can still do the, kind of on the job training, if you will, with that and kind of get to know people and kind of get to do all the grunt work as a young coach and getting to be the head freshman coach right out of the bat. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was an opportunity that I certainly didn't deserve, but it was one that Jack was willing to give me. And I'm super thankful for it always. I actually kind of luckily at Dwyer got to skip a lot of the grunt work and the young coach treatment. The program at Dwyer was so big that I was 2 fields away from the varsity team and everything that was going on with that, and so I was actually kinda living in my own world. I got to hire my own staff, I got to run my own practices, and so I really got to, as a 20-year-old, as a senior in college, I got to figure out what kind of coach I was, how I would run a program. Because it's funny, my first coaching job ever as a 20-year-old, I had 65 kids on my team. Now for the last 7 years coaching private Christian football, I've never had a team with 65. It's always 40 to 45. So I had one of my biggest rosters as a 20-year-old coaching freshman football.
Yeah, I try to tell young coaches all the time that are still in school, I'm like, "Guys, don't turn your nose up at freshman level football at the bigger programs because it's as if you're running a single A numbers wise. The logistics and everything else is it's like running a smaller school program. Now, obviously, the competition and ability is not the same, but you get your staff, you've got your own field, you're doing your own practices, you have to organize all of that, and you have to answer to the boss at the varsity level. But I mean, basically, he's like, here, take them over there and make sure when they get to us, they know how to do stuff.
It was so awesome. I mean, I dealt with the parents, and I didn't really have any business dealing with parents. I scheduled transportation. I mean, I just got thrown to the wolves, and it was such a great experience. I made a ton of mistakes and did some things that I would not recommend anyone ever do, but I learned from it, and I got to learn from it super young, so that I was able to mature in the coaching industry pretty quickly. And yeah, to your point, like anyone listening, I would highly recommend. By my senior year at college, I had classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and like two of them were ballroom dancing or something. You have a joke schedule at the end of your college career. If you want to get into coaching, every high school in America is looking for help. If you'll humble yourself and take a job that maybe you're not super excited about, but it gets your foot in the door, you can get started on your career pretty quickly.
Yeah, because as we've said many times on this program, that it's more about who you know and who knows you than what you know.
Right.
And that networking is so important in our profession to make sure that if nothing else, people will know who you are. So how many years I mean, were you just there the 1 year or how long were you at Dwyer?
No, I coached the freshmen for a year, and then I got to move up with that same group and coach the JV team, and then I moved up with them one more time and became the receivers coach, there at Dwyer for a year, and, yeah, then it just felt like my time there was kinda coming to an end. I had so much, like, love and respect for Coach Daniels. He treated me super well. He took me fishing, took me out with his family, because again, I was, 21 years old, 22 years old. I didn't have any family down here, so he treated me incredibly well. But he's also a very loyal guy, and his staff had been with him for decades at this point, and there didn't seem to be a ton of upward mobility for me within the program as far as, like, rising to a coordinator or anything like that. And right around the time that I was realizing there might be a little bit of a ceiling for me there, the Kings Academy and Coach Keith Allen gave me a call, and so I went and listened to him and the way he ran a program, and was really excited to learn from him. So I actually went over there and became the pass game coordinator and took that job and was there for 5 years, and that was just another incredible learning experience and such a great group of guys to be around. And I had 4 head coaches in 5 years there. So I got to learn from a bunch of different dudes because all of them were just real serious football guys.
Well, did you teach history there as well?
I did. I was an AP US history teacher, and I also taught 8th grade Bible, and then just kind of did whatever they asked me to do. Kings is a pretty upper echelon school, and they're kind of the cream of the crop academically, spiritually, and then they have a really good football program there too. My first year in 2018, we made it to the state championship game. We lost to the national power Chaminade Madonna. Um, uh, had them beat 10-0 in the first quarter, and then they realized they were playing football and kind of whooped us 38-10. But anyways, you when you were at Kings, you just kind of did whatever they asked you to because you were pretty happy to be there.
So, is it a non-denominational Christian school, or is it tied to a specific church?
Yeah, non-denominational, independent Christian school. They actually they don't even take any sort of step up or that's a program in Florida. I don't know if they have it in Georgia, but it's like kind of private school government funding. They don't take a cent from the government. It's all tuition based and donor based, and they are totally independent. It's a very unique school in that way.
Yeah, I was just curious. I started my career at, Aquinas High School in Augusta, Georgia, and it's a part of the Catholic Church, and I'm not Catholic, but I was very intrigued with the private, school situation, especially when it's tied to, a church or, has a Christian values and Christian base and things like that. I think that's very important when you're dealing with young people and that option that kids have to, if they're looking for something a little bit more than what the public school offers them. So how long you were there for 5 years? Did you maintain the same position there the whole time?
So I was hired as the pass game coordinator, and in Florida we have a real shortage of coaches. Florida doesn't pay particularly well, and then also in the private Christian school world, the coaches go through a pretty rigorous interview process and have to like give their faith testimony, and so all that to say, there weren't a ton of coaches on staff. The ones we did have were absolutely excellent, but we were probably the year we went to the state championship game when I first got hired, we probably operated as a 5 or 6 man staff. So I got hired as the pass game coordinator, quickly became the quarterbacks and wide receivers coach on top of that. And then about halfway through the year, our head coach was our offensive coordinator and the special teams coordinator. And so about halfway through 2018, he just focused on special teams and kind of turned the play calling over to me. And I was for that year sort of the de facto offensive coordinator, and then was officially promoted the next year. But Coach Allen was special teams coordinator at San Jose State University, did special teams at TCU, was a student coach at Oklahoma as special teams. So he was kind of a special teams guru. So he was really just running the offense because he had to. That when he was finally freed up to be able to go focus on special teams, he ate it up.
Well, I remember you telling me, sharing with me when we were in Orlando that you got to work the Manning camp a few times. Was that during this time?
Yeah, it was. The first time I got asked to go to the Manning camp was the first year I officially got promoted to offensive coordinator. And I mean, I'll tell you again, I was 23 years old, just came off of a state title runner up run. My first year really coaching varsity football. And then the Manning camp comes calling. And I mean, I thought I was some hot crap. I thought everyone in the world knew me and loved me and thought I was something else. It turns out that Coach Daniels from Dwyer actually just quit working at the Manning camp. And they sort of ask you, because they keep the circle pretty small, they ask you, do you have anyone that'll take your spot? And it's a pretty hard camp to work. It's grueling. It's in the Louisiana sun. You're away from your family for 5 days. And I think pretty much everyone said no when Coach Daniels asked them if they would take his spot. But I was 23 and would do anything to be in a room with Peyton and Eli and Archie. So I said yes and got to fly out to Louisiana that summer. And I've been doing it for 7 years now. And it's my favorite weekend of the year every year.
That's awesome. Well, we sent our quarterback down there this past year, and he had a big time. Our offensive coordinator went as well, and I think he just went to observe, and I think he brought a lot of good stuff back. But it's pretty cool when you get to work with some of the elite talent in the country.
Yeah, I mean it's again my first year there. The quarterback class was Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Jake Fromm. So to go from coaching small school Christian football to rolling up and riding in on a bus with those guys, I actually you take a little shuttle from the airport all the way out, and I was sitting next to Rich Rodriguez's son, and just getting to talk ball with him for an hour as we drove out to Nickel State where the campus hosted. And I mean, that was just, you're just kind of in football heaven. You're getting to work with the cream of the crop. You're getting to see the way that the future NFL quarterbacks, the best quarterbacks in the country, carry themselves, the way they practice, the way they ask questions. It's a really, really cool experience. And getting to bring that back to your players and your quarterbacks and telling them, hey, this is what it looks like. This is what the best of the best do. Um, And the other really amazing aspect of the Manning camp is they don't they don't really like being around cocky, arrogant guys. All the quarterbacks they invite and all the coaches they invite are just some of the best dudes you've ever been around. Like all the quarterbacks, the Joe Burrows, the Trevor Lawrences, the Herberts, the I mean, you name it, they've all been to that camp. They're just such humble, great guys that it's like it gives you some hope for the future of football, the future of the country, just the future everything. That these guys that are about to be millionaires that have millions of followers on Twitter and everything are just real like salt of the earth, nice guys.
Well, at some point in time, apparently, while you're at King's, the shuffling of sandaled feet must have been heard in the background, and the Lord led you to Jupiter. Is that correct?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
So now you're on the defensive side of the ball.
I am. So I actually the move to Jupiter Christian was the first academic move I've ever made in my life. The president of the school actually went to church with me and just asked one day, "Hey, we're looking for a dean. Have you ever considered being a dean?" And honestly, I hadn't, but he actually played football at Wheaton College, the president of Jupiter Christian. And so he asked me, what do you think is different about being a football coach than being a dean? And that got me thinking. And one of the main reasons I love coaching is the disciplinary aspect of it. The the everyday routine, the mastering the mundane, the being accountable to your teammates. That's as much as I love the X's and O's, I love teaching young men how to how to be great men, how to make your bed every day, things like that. And so the way he pitched it to me is he offered me the chance to do that for an entire school, and that was music to my ears. So I took that job without really, for the first time in my career, thinking much about football. But then I got paired up with another legendary coach, Baz Alfred. He's he's super well known in our area, just one of the best dudes in the whole profession of coaching. And he welcomed me with open arms, let me run the offense my first year, and we lost in the second round of the playoffs, 63-49. We had 600 yards of offense and did everything we wanted to. We scored on every possession but one, touchdowns on every possession but one. And I looked at him after the game and was just like, Baz, I don't want to lose a game like this again. What do you think about me running the defense next year? And he was like, let's try it. And so I've been on the defense side of the ball for 2 years, and this will be my third year coming up. And we've won two state championships since I moved to defense. So I think I just missed my calling early on in my career. My heart is still with the offense. If you were to look at my Twitter or my notebooks, I'm still drawing up offensive plays almost every day. But I've found a lot of success running and calling defenses.
Yeah, I think it's important a lot of times for us to flip sides. It's clinic season right now, and I've had some coaches reach out to me, younger guys, and asking, who should they go listen to, or coach, who's somebody, I can get something from, and I always encourage them just go listen to the opposite side of the ball that you coach. If you're an offensive guy, go listen to defensive coaches.
Yeah,
Learn what they're thinking, and vice versa. Get an idea of what they're gonna do, and if you're at a smaller school and you're gonna be in charge of punt team, go listen to some special team stuff.
right.
Just go don't get stuck in an echo chamber listening to people talk about what you run. You're gonna run what you run. So
Exactly.
so go learn something that the other side's doing to try to help you there. So we met in Orlando, and you're working for a company called, or their product, Snack. Explain to
Yes.
everybody, how you got hooked up with these guys, and just a brief, or however long you want to take, summary of what it is.
Yeah. So that's just another, I mean, I really feel like every opportunity I've gotten in my life has just been like directed by the Lord because they don't even make sense how it happens. So I was just sitting in my office one day as the dean of students, and these two guys walk in and they say their realtor is on the board of Jupiter Christian, and I'm like, okay, great. What are you doing here? And they're like, well, we've got this AI sort of thing called Snack, and it you record videos, and then AI listens and asks questions, and they give me the whole pitch. And at the time, it was kind of like Duolingo, if you've ever used that. And they were like, "We're using it for personal finance because personal finance is boring and people don't know how to manage their money. So we've made it fun and we want to show your kids this app. Can we do that?" And I listened to him for about 15 minutes. I was like, "Man, forget personal finance. Can we do football?" The CEO, Dan, was a professional surfer, but knew absolutely nothing about football. And the developer, Dylan, ran track in high school, but that's about the extent of their athletic career. So they're like, "What in the world would we use this for football? This is a personal finance app." And I said, "Well, what if I just record a video talking about Inside Zone, and can we just put it through your AI or whatever mechanism you're using and just see what happens?" And they're like, "Sure, why not?" So I recorded the video. I did a whole install of our Inside Zone. It was like a 12-minute video, and they put it through they snackified it. That's what we call it now. And they put it through the AI, and it took this 12-minute video and it chopped it up. And every 30 seconds, it was asking questions. And the AI was listening, and the AI was what was coming up with the questions. And these questions were incredible. It was like on Inside Zone, do we read the backside end or the front side end? Who do we double to? And I was like, man, AI really knows ball. And I immediately fell in love with it. And I was like, but man, are they going to let me use this for football? Cause it was this kind of new technology. And the CEO, Dan, comes up to me and he's like, yeah, so when you're running inside zone right, you got to make sure the backside tackle climbs to the will. And I was like, what in the world? How do you know that? And he's like, dude, I listened to your snack and I answered all the questions and I got them all right. I know football now. And if Dan's listening, he still doesn't really know football.
But he's a great guy. He's a super
He's a
great
great
guy.
he's a great guy, and he can everything that I've snackified, he does know, I'll give him that. But he only knows the Jupiter Christian football world and the snacks that he's listened to. But so they've been working with me for like a year on this concept. Like they were like, "Man, if we can learn football and we know nothing about it, by just kind of it's like a TikTok scroll, then I bet players could learn a whole lot more." And so we meet about once a week. We go over the whole user experience, the user interface. I still know nothing about the tech or the coding, but we've really we stripped it down. It doesn't look anything like Duolingo anymore. And we built it so that football coaches could use it. And I used it all of last year. And I'm sure there's a lot of coaches out here that have the same problem as me. We ran into a problem at Jupiter Christian where I've got 45 kids, so all of them play offense, defense, and special teams. We don't unfortunately have a football class, so we have to lift after school, we have to do our meetings after school, and we have to practice. So I was getting home every night at like 8 p.m. And I just had a daughter. I never got to. I was really worried about football season. Like, am I gonna see her, or is she just gonna never see me during football season except on the weekends? And so I kind of just came up with this idea, and my head coach let me run with it. I was like, what if I just recorded all of the installs, game plans, and scouting reports? I snackified them and I sent them to the kids. And then we just eliminated meeting time. So we would save, because if you think about it, 45 minutes offense, 45 minutes of defense, 15 to 30 minutes of special teams. That's like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours a day just of meetings. And after 7 periods of learning, the kids are all hyped up to go to football practice. And then we make them sit down for another hour and a half and listen to we think we're entertaining, but we all know at the end of the day, we're not. Um, so I was like, let's try this. And we tried it, sent it right to the kids' phones. And about week 3, I was going over a scouting report like I always do. We installed in the classroom, and then we kind of know they weren't listening to us in the classroom. So then we do it again on the field. Well, this time we skipped the classroom because we were out of time and I had already sent them the snacks. And I walk out and I'm like, all right, guys, on 3rd and 3, this team loves to go trips. And when they go trips to the field, my will backside linebacker, who's like one of our biggest knuckleheads, I call him jabronis on the team, he goes, "We know, coach, they run speed option to the boundary." And I was like, "How do you know that?" He's like, "We listen to the snacks." And I was like, "Well, then who has the pitch man?" He's like, "I do." And I was like, "All right, well, then who has the quarterback?" He's like, "The mic does." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, we might be onto something here." So we just went full on into it. And it was amazing what the kids retained from this being broken up into about every 30 seconds. Then they have to answer a question. The amount of time I saved, I would just make I'd probably spend an hour making videos on Sunday night, send them out to the kids immediately, and then that was that. We didn't meet throughout the week. We even got later in the season to where we didn't meet with the coaching staff. We just made snacks and sent them to each other. And I don't know how it is in Georgia. I'd imagine you guys have excellent coaches all around. But in Florida, sometimes we hire guys just to run a 10-minute indie drill, and that's all they do because we don't pay particularly well and we don't always get the cream of the crop down here in Florida. And so I had years in the past where I'd put together the scouting report, I'd text it to the coaches, I'd email it, I'd do a PowerPoint, and we'd walk out on the field Monday, and my assistant coach would be like, "All right, coach, who we got this week?" And we're like, "My goodness, I just put 3 hours of work and you didn't even look at it." Well,
Right.
with Snack, I'd send it to them, and I saw that they didn't watch it and they didn't answer any of the questions, so I would just run their indie period. "Oh, coach, why are you running my indie period?" "Well, because you didn't prepare for the game plan." And on Tuesday, they had watched it. They knew the game plan. They were better coaches for it. It was so awesome and saved me so much time. Um, that kind of come clinic season, the snack guys, Dan and Dylan, were like, "Hey man, we want to take this to the world. How should we do it?" And I said, let's go to some clinics and see if people even like it. And we've been to Orlando and Seattle, and we're going to San Francisco and Chicago. And so far, I mean, the feedback has been ridiculous. Everyone loves it. Everyone sees the value of it. And my like really my hope in my heart for it all is that like people can get time back with their family like I did, and then they can quit wasting 3 hours of game planning or 5 hours or 10 hours over the weekend, and then their kids not learn anything or pay any attention to it. I want the work that the coaches do to be received by the players, and I want our players to really learn football. This is another tangent, so I'll be quick about it. But I worry about the state of football in the future, and people like really mastering the game and knowing the ins and outs of it. And I do think that with kids having to do these assignments and AI coming up with the quizzes, it's really going to increase the overall IQ of football, which I'm super fired up about that.
Man, that's awesome. So I've got questions.
Yeah, let's go.
So if a child doesn't get the answer right, what happens?
They kind of watch the video again.
Oh,
So it's
that's
about 30.
awesome.
Yeah, it's about 30 seconds. So they don't have to rewatch the whole video, just the section they got wrong.
Okay, so, there's other platforms that we've all used in the past, and we've told our position group, "All right, you've gotta watch an hour worth of film," when they figured out how to cheese it and just let it run, and they're not watching it.
No,
It just
no.
shows us that they watched it for 30 minutes. No, it was on for 30 minutes, so there's no way that the child, the players they can't they can't cheese it. They can't cheat the system. They can't nerf it to where they're saying they did. I mean, it won't let them move forward in a section until they get the questions right.
Right, exactly. And we actually even had a coach who's a real more tech savvy than I am come up at a clinic. He's like, "Let me see if my kids can cheat." And he did some crazy thing and put it through another AI and was like, "This is all the kids are going to do. It's not going to work." And then that AI actually got the question wrong. And so for a second, I like was holding my breath, like this guy might ruin our entire tech right here, right now, in front of all these coaches. And AI that he plugged it through got it wrong. And I was like, "See, your kids actually have to watch the videos and know what you're saying, and know they got to know ball, or they're going to get it wrong, and they're just going to watch it until they get it right."
So you make cut ups and clips like you would a PowerPoint and then talk over it. Is that how it works, or does it have a playmaker tool? Or I mean, how does the actual
Yeah.
if I'm sitting down and you're showing me what to do, is it just me pulling out these are their favorite first down plays, or these are their favorite first down runs, these are their favorite second down runs, and I just talk over it? Or I mean, can I put graphics? And I mean, how do I integrate? Is it fully integratable with other platforms?
Yeah, so one big thing, like, when I was talking to the guys developing it was, like, I didn't wanna take the coach out of the game. I didn't want AI to become the coach all of a sudden. I think that misses out on pretty much everything and why I do what I do and why we do what we do. So we didn't make it to where AI was coming up with the scouting reports or coming up with the game plans. What we did is AI is listening to the coach and developing everything off of the coach. So to answer your question, you can screen record your huddle, you can screen record your diagrams, whether you do that in Visio or Just Play or Huddle or Quick Cuts, anything, any technology you're already using, Snack uses as a complement. You could even just videotape your kids doing an indie drill and coach them as you're videotaping them. You upload that to Snack. The AI listens to your voice and starts asking questions. Hey, when we backpedal, what foot do we start back? And are we doing a T step? Are we doing a pedal? And AI will ask all those questions. So to answer your question, it's really just anything that you can record and anything that you can talk over, you can put into Snack. It's kind of limitless. And you talked about a play builder. It's funny you brought that up. We are working on owning the playbook world. We haven't heard a lot of great feedback on people and the current play building tools they're using. And we have the capability of building basically anything. Our developer is so advanced. So we're gonna try to own the playbook world and just have a play builder in Snack that's coming soon. And so really all you'll need outside platforms for is just your film.
So, as an old guy that's not very tech savvy, I'm watching film and I'm watching Adam play Mike linebacker, and we're watching.
That
Right, and we'll pretend. So you're a middle school Mike linebacker.
there
So
we go.
so
That would work.
so you're at Mike linebacker, and I'm while the film is playing, I'm going, "All right, Adam, I want you to read the guard. If he goes down, you've got, front side B gap. If he steps out, you've got play side A, play away, backside A, or whatever." I just tell you, I just coach, and the AI is going to develop questions off of that?
Yeah,
Okay, so I
exactly.
don't have to
It'll
come up with the questions. It'll come up with the questions.
Exactly. That's the beauty. All you do is do what you always do, which is just coach, and then AI does the rest. That's why it saves you so much time. We honestly, and I should have thought about it, but we could have recorded this phone call and I could have put it into Snack and AI would have come up with questions about this podcast, which would have been sick. I'm kicking myself now, but yeah, it does it all for you. All you do is coach or do your install or do your scouting report, and all it has to do is listen to you.
So I know you guys are heavy into the football world. This sounds like something that you could use for any sport that you're coaching.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Snack is I'm on the football side and I asked them to develop it for me for football and they were gracious enough to do that. But they are in HR departments. They do all sorts of HR onboarding and training. They are in like the medical world. We're just now branching into sports and yeah, for sure. We've just signed up a basketball team that's really excited to use this. Anything you can teach or coach and you want your kids to retain, you can put into Snack. We found that if you just quizzed your kids after doing an install on the whiteboard, there's about 10% retention of everything you went over. If you do the same install on Snack, it goes up to about 80%.
Well, one of the things that I like that you guys put forth, part of your thing is, cell phones are here to stay, especially
Right.
with teenagers. They're not going anywhere. So either you can prohibit them, which that doesn't work out real well, or you can figure out ways to use that technology to your advantage. And I thought that was great that y'all were like, look, you got to have a plan B.
Right. That's our CEO says it all the time. He said, "Plan A is get kids off of cell phones," but we don't think that's going to happen. So we are executing Plan B right now, which is let's at least stop having them doom scrolling TikTok and seeing God knows what on Instagram and everything like that. And if they're going to be on their phones, let's get them learning football. Let's get them learning personal finance. Let's get them learning things. I just talked to a coach today that's signing up for Snack, and he was like, "Man, I'd love to teach my kids how to tie a tie, how to open a checking account, how to, do these basic life skills. Like, I feel like I can put those in the Snack too." And I mean, I'm all for that. We are starting to do our devotions as a team, our Bible studies in Snack. I mean, you can, like you just said, if they're going to be on their phones, let's turn it into a positive thing, not what it currently is.
So the only limit, it sounds like, that there is with snack is your own imagination and your own
I
creativity with
yes.
and your own creativity and what you would want to try to use it for.
Yeah, that's all I can think of, and it's the best part of my job right now is just getting to talk to other coaches, and and hearing like how they want to use it because turns out I was using about 10% of its capability. And I can't wait for what I'm going to do with it next year.
Yeah, I'll never forget that introducing, you guys paid to have a, 90-second blurb at the beginning of some of the sessions, and one of the coach there was a high school coach from Texas there, from Vandergrift High School, and I didn't know I didn't know what you guys did. I was the liaison for the exhibitors, and I was like, "Well, there's a lot of people doing fundraising stuff, and it's called Snack." And Dan came in with you and y'all were, introducing it, and we're standing over there, and I know he was thinking the same thing, and I had a clipboard, and I was like, as soon as y'all started talking about your product, I held the clipboard up, and I was like, "This is not at all what I thought it was gonna be." I just knew they were gonna be selling us caramel popcorn or something like.
Yeah, that was the quote of the weekend, and then we started kicking ourselves that we didn't have any caramel popcorn at the stand. That would have brought the coaches to us for sure.
But it was just awesome. I was like, "This is pretty cool," and he was like, "Yeah, I kinda like this," and I mean, just in 90 seconds, we were hooked about, and I came back and told my head coach, I was like, "There were 4 or 5 things I saw that I thought were really cool," and I was like, "These guys, they're really good guys. They're genuine. They're about helping kids and doing things the right way and just super nice people, and it's always good to work with people like that, especially in this business because, again, it gets back
Right.
to who you know in relationships."
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I literally can't say enough good things about Dan and Dylan. And I mean, they're just such good guys in it for the right reason. And then, I mean, like I said, I accidentally stumbled into this and they gave me the opportunity to provide a little bit more for my family. And they let me go to clinics for free and they let me sit in on the clinics. And then I just come out and sell a little bit of snack on the outside. Like, I mean, it's just like kind of the best gig ever, and I get to work with 2 amazing guys, and, like, I try to tell coaches all the time, like, I'm not a salesman. I mean, I guess as a coach, we all sell a little bit. We're trying to get kids to buy into our program, so we've got a little bit of that in our blood, but, I mean, the main reason I'm doing this is because it helped me and it helped my kids so much that when they approached me and said, "Hey, you wanna go on a clinic tour and tell other coaches about this?" It was like, "Man, I get to talk to football coaches and make a little money and go to these clinics for free? Heck yeah, let's go."
Yeah, it's fantastic. So tell everybody, like, if I want to book a demonstration or figure out the pricing and things like that, where can I go to find Snack?
Yeah, so I was, probably the only coach in the world not on social media until I started working with Snack. So I now have a 21 followers on Twitter, but you can follow my Twitter. It's Coach Adam Snack. That's one way. You could DM me there. You could go to snack.io. That's our website and click book a demo. Or you could just email me at uh, adam at snack.io, any of those things and we'll hit you up. If you're listening on the West Coast for whatever reason, our guy out there is Peyton Pelluer. He's like one of the all-time leading tacklers at Washington State and the head coach at Skyline High School now. He also he's much more well known on in the Twitter world and everything. You could hit him up as well, and he'll get you a demo and get you all set up.
Well, as someone who is the worst salesman ever, I can appreciate, and most people know me and listen to me know that I'm not gonna suggest a product or let anybody come on and talk about a product if I haven't seen it and I don't believe in it myself. And I was just sold, if nothing else, by the how genuine you guys were, how excited you were about the product. And then I just thought it was cool. I mean, I'll be honest, I thought it was just a neat thing and it made sense when they explained the neuroscience behind why the snack works,
Yeah.
why, all of that. I mean, it's not like they just said, "Hey, let's make, football TikToks." I mean, there's actual neuroscience behind the
Yeah.
timing and everything else. I mean, it is very impressive what you guys have come up with, and I appreciate you coming on and not only sharing with us about Snack, but sharing your journey as a coach as well.
Yeah. I mean, thanks so much for letting me do that. That's such a fun thing to get to do and even kind of take a trip down memory lane as I talk about it. And I mean, same thing back to you. Like I didn't ever imagine myself doing a podcast or talking to anyone like that. But you coming up and just being so hospitable to us and being such a good dude to talk to for 3 straight days at Glacier, and when the booth was slow or when we were tired or staying on our feet for 12 hours, getting to cut it up with you was like, "Oh, man, of course I'll talk to you for an hour on the phone." Like, that's a no-brainer, so thank you for being a good dude of football too. It's always refreshing to meet good dudes that love our sport.
Well, thanks, Coach. I sure do appreciate it. And I'd like to remind everyone to like, follow, and subscribe anywhere where you get your podcasts, Sun Coaches Podcast. And also, don't forget that this Saturday at South Forsyth High School, 8:30 starts registration for the Sun Coaches Retreat. There's going to be 8 fellowships going on from 8 different schools. There'll be 3 rooms for each school. Every hour, every 50 minutes, we'll roll another crew in there. It's going to be an old school type situation. No college coach, no vendors, just ball coaches talking ball. Thanks for listening.